Welcome back to Crossfire Online. My name is Abby and this is Chris.
Hi,
Matt,
guys.
what do the kids call you?
Chris, I don't think no one knows me as Matt anymore.
That's so true.
Yeah.
See, in my phone, I have you as Chris.
Yeah,
Mm.
just leave it as Chris.
Chris
is cool.
or McCrizzle.
McCrizzle?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Anyway.
so Chris and I have known each other for quite some time, but
It is true. It is true.
Yeah, a couple of years,
Couple of years now.
maybe a decade.
Jeez,
I reckon.
that's a stretch.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe. So we're playing a game called Two Truths and a Lie. We're each going to say two truths and a lie, and the other has to guess which one is the lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was Sharpay in the Year 12 like school performance from High School
Okay.
Musical. I love her; she's wonderful. In primary school, I failed to make the softball team because every time I went to hit it, I missed. I
have seen you play sport,
Oh,
so that one could be believable.
Okay,
that one
yeah.
can be believable.
Look, it's not great. And the last one was that I was also a part of the Newcomb Ball team, and we were pretty good. Yeah.
And Nuka Ball, for people playing at home who don't know
Oh,
what
yes,
Nuka Ball
Nuka
is.
Ball is sort of like a poor man's volleyball. So instead of like you hit it over the net,
You
but you
get
get
to
to catch it. Yeah, like again.
Alright, well I've got some insider knowledge, and I know you did play Sharpay.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
I do remember that. It was a long time ago, but I do remember it.
Yeah.
So are you saying she didn't make the softball team, or she made the Nuka Ball team? I reckon Nuka Ball's something niche that you would have played, and I reckon you did actually play softball.
Oh.
Have I got it right?
You haven't. Okay.
Oh no!
I really did fail to get into the softball team. I'm terrible at sport, but I did get into the Newcomb Ball one. Wait, no, I've stuffed that up, haven't I? Have I told 3 truths?
So what was the lie
Okay.
supposed to be?
The lie I was gonna tell was the netball team. I was gonna say I was in the netball team, which was the lie. But I've said I
But
was
you
in-
didn't even say that.
I know, I didn't even say netball. I went with the Newcomb Ball because I was like, oh yeah, I did Newcomb Ball. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
How about you have a go?
Okay, so I have done it right. I know I've done it right because I'm going to read it off. I jumped off the balcony after finishing my last class in economics at school.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I had the shot put record in year 12.
Ooh.
And in year 7, I got a total of 44 detentions.
Okay. Okay. I feel like after economics, that's something you would do. I just feel like you would jump.
Yeah.
Because the balcony, you got to think about it. Is it the demountable balcony? Is it the building balcony? I'm going to say you did do the jump. That's true. I'm going to say you were really good at shot put. I just have a feeling you've got athletic arms. I reckon you got the strength.
With the metal ball.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
hard. I could never do that either. It's so
You got to put it
Oh,
next
yeah,
year.
boom. And then I'm gonna say the lie was the 44 detentions. What were you doing in year 7? No one's that bad.
Okay, so
Okay.
I did jump off the balcony after finishing
Okay.
economics. I did not like the class. Jumped off and stacked it.
Oh, ouch.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
Do not suggest. But I did get 44 detentions in year 7. I was late. a lot.
What?
Just unorganised, not
No.
a bit of chatter, year 7 boys.
44.
No, I
That's
never
crazy.
did shot put.
Ah, okay, no, you think. 44. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I only
44.
got 1 detention in all of my school
Miss
life.
Perfect over here.
You know, and it was because I forgot my hat. I've been on 3 different yo teams. My second fact is I've swum out to the sandbank and gotten stuck. And my last fact is I've led the year 12 girls since they were the age of 12. So what do you think, Chris?
We have led a yo team with me.
Yeah.
I do know that.
Okay.
Was there 2 before me and Jack?
Yeah.
I only remember the good times, so that's with me and Jack, of course. I can't remember before that. So I think that's a truth. I think you've done 2 rounds before that.
Yeah.
I don't know about your swimming abilities. I did think you were a good swimmer. You might not be.
Oh, that's so nice.
So maybe
I was
that's
really
changed.
good in year 6 champion. So.
And I reckon you have led the Warriors girls since What was it? Since they were 12 years old.
Yeah, so like when they were
Well, they were
in
in
year six.
year 6. I'm going to guess that the lie is that you got stuck in the sandbank.
Well done, Chris. You're correct. We did swim out there, but yeah, no one got stuck.
No one got stuck?
Have you done that swim as well?
I have done that swim. It is tough. I know one of the old leaders had an asthma attack and he got stuck. And his kid actually had to swim him back to shore.
Wow, that's a beautiful rescue story.
Geordie Renee had to swim him back.
Shout out to the Lions.
Yeah.
We're all about safety here at Crossfire.
Safety. So, I have led on the community team. I have led every grade from the Arrows to the Stags at some point.
Wow, okay.
And I have been on junior site 4 years in a row now.
Okay.
We got some tricky ones.
Hard.
We got some tricky.
Okay, I think it is true that you have led a lot of different grades because I feel like N28 and things like that.
You switch around.
You switch around.
Have a bit of a taster.
I'm going to say the lie is the community team one. I reckon you haven't been on the community team. I don't have a memory of it.
You don't think I've been on the community team?
Oh no, now I'm regretting everything. I'm going to lock it in. You haven't been on the community team.
Lock it in, Eddie?
Yep, lock it in.
I've never led on the community team.
Woo!
But
yes.
yeah, I've led every grade from the Arrows to the Stags. Either one night or like an actual team. One night. Well,
there you go.
That's 2 truths, 1 lie, or 3 truths sometimes in Abby's case.
I feel like we've learned lots about each other. It's been good.
It's been good.
Alrighty guys, it's time for the sermon. Enjoy. See you later.
Bye guys.
Hey Crossfire, I'm Isaac from the Royals and I'll be leading you guys in prayer tonight, so why don't you join me? Dear Lord, I thank you that even though we are amidst a bad time in lockdown and we can't go out to see each other, we can still connect through the internet and via FaceTime or Zoom or messages. And I also pray for Holly tonight, that she can bring the word well and that she can connect with everyone who's watching. And I pray that you reveal yourself to those who don't know you, who are listening to Holly tonight, and that her word can help them get to know you better. In Jesus' name, amen.
King Belshazzar gave a great banquet for 1,000 of his nobles and drank wine with them. While Belshazzar was drinking his wine, he gave orders to bring in the gold and silver goblets that Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had taken from the temple in Jerusalem, so that the king and his nobles, his wives and his concubines, might drink from them. So they brought in the gold goblets that had been taken from the temple of God in Jerusalem, and the king and his nobles, his wives and his concubines, drank from them. As they drank the wine, they praised the gods of gold and silver, of bronze, iron, wood and stone. Suddenly, the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall, near the lampstand in the royal palace. The king watched the hand as it wrote. His face turned pale, and he was so frightened that his legs became weak and his knees were knocking. But you, Belshazzar, his son, have not humbled yourself, though you knew all of this. Instead, you have set yourself up against the Lord of heaven. You had the goblets from his temple brought to you, and you and your nobles, your wives and your concubines drank wine from them. You praised the gods of silver and gold, of bronze, iron, wood and stone, which cannot see or hear or understand. But you did not honor the God who holds in his hand your life and all your ways. Therefore he sent the hand that wrote the inscription. This is the inscription that was written. Mene, mene, tekel parsin. Here is what these words mean. Mene, God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then at Belshazzar's command, Daniel was clothed in purple. A gold chain was placed around his neck, and he was proclaimed the third highest ruler in the kingdom. That very night, Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62.
Do you think it's fair that God destroyed a whole tribe in the Old Testament for participating in child sacrifice? Or do you think it's fair that God killed a couple in the New Testament for lying to the church about how much money that they had given? Do you think it's fair that God killed a king for drinking out of a cup that wasn't his? Well, that's exactly what happens to King Belshazzar in Daniel 5. We're continuing our series in Daniel about how God is in control, and tonight we're looking at God as our judge. We see in the scriptures, and we've unpacked the last few weeks, that God is in control of everything, and that includes our eternal judgment. But this then poses the question, why can God judge me? The basic answer is he's God, he made us, we're his creation, and he can do what he wants. And although this isn't necessarily untrue, I find it a bit of a cop-out answer. So let's explore this a bit more. God can judge us because he is holy. The Bible mentions countless times that God's holy, and he even calls himself holy. Just look at Isaiah 43:15. A basic and simple explanation of what it means for God to be holy is that he's perfect. And although holiness is a lot more complex than just that one synonym, we don't really have the time to fully unpack God's holiness tonight. So what does God's holiness have to do with his judgment? Basically, because God is holy, he cannot look at sin. And do you want to take a guess at who's sinful? Hint, it is literally every single person ever. We see in Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. God can judge us because we are sinful. So because God is holy, he can judge those who are unholy. God can also judge us because he's righteous. God's righteousness is another term which is a bit difficult to unpack tonight in such a short span of time, but to put it simply, righteousness means that God is right. Righteousness equals being right. There are at least 72 verses that I found in the Bible explaining that God is righteous. One example is Psalm 145, verse 17. It says, "The Lord is righteous in all his ways and kind in all his deeds." Now, compare this to us, who in Romans 3:10 are told no one is righteous, not even one. Not even the nicest person you know, not even the seemingly most Christian person that you know is holy and righteous in their own merit. So we see that God is our judge and that he judges us because he's holy and righteous, and we as sinful people are not. But what does this judgment look like? There are countless times in the Old Testament where God judged people for not living in accordance with his law or going against his commands. He either struck them dead on the spot or inflicted some type of hardship on them, and we see this with Belshazzar in the passage that was read out to us. He shows complete and utter disrespect for God by using his precious temple vessels as a wine glass for him and his mates to drink wine out of, while they were worshipping some false gods. And because of Belshazzar's unrighteousness and disrespect towards God, his fate was sealed and he died. Now, it's so easy for us to sit back and go, okay, well, Belshazzar was a bit of an idiot, as if he would take one of God's special things and use it for his own fun, his own pleasure, his own gain, whatever. But we are actually just like Belshazzar. We take the things that God has intended for good, intended to glorify him, and we use it for our own gain. Our mouths, for example, which are meant to sing praises to God and build others up, we used to gossip about our friends and tear others down. Or sex, which God made for the boundaries of marriage, we treat casually and for our own pleasure. Or even the environment, which God made for us to enjoy and take care of, we exploit for our own wealth and gain. We look at the judgment placed on Belshazzar by God and think, fair enough, without assessing our own hearts to realize we are the same. And although we will not be judged with the exact same specific punishment as Belshazzar, I don't think a severed hand is going to pop up and write a secret message on the wall. I mean, you never know. But the judgment for our sin is actually much worse. The judgment for our sin is an eternity separate from God, an eternity in hell. It's described in Matthew 25:46 as eternal punishment. So we've seen why God judges and what God's judgment looks like. But how will God judge us? Whether you think you've only sinned once in your life or you feel like you fall short every single day, God is our judge, and there will come a day where he judges me and he judges you. It sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it? Kind of sounds a bit hopeless. And I'm not sure how you feel when you think about God judging you. Maybe you feel terrified. You think, I've lived such a sinful life. I fall short every single day. God is going to judge me so intensely. Or maybe you're the opposite and you have a self-sufficient and kind of arrogant view of your own righteousness and God's judgment. You think, I've lived a pretty good life. Yeah, I'm a little bit sinful, but I'm not as bad as my mates over there. And I go to church every week. I go to Crossfire. I read my Bible. I'll be fine. Whether you're the first example or the second, or you're somewhere in between, all sin is equal in God's eyes, and therefore we're all judged on the same accord. In verse 27 of the passage, we see that the writing on the wall translates to "you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting." To understand this a bit better, I compared it to some other translations in the Bible, and we see this verse is saying that Belshazzar has been weighed on the scales of righteousness, and he falls short, or he's found lacking, he's found not good enough. To demonstrate this in relation to our own sin, I have some scales, the scales of righteousness. Basically, in this demonstration, these scales are God's way of judging us. So this side, the side furthest away from me on the scales, represents us. And when the day of judgment comes, where God decides where we'll end up for eternity, if we tip the scales, we'll be found wanting, and we'll have an eternity separate from God. But before I start this demonstration, I just want to make something a little bit clear. If I'm pouring more water into this cup when I'm talking about one sin and not another, that doesn't mean that sin is worse than another. That's not what I'm saying, and just wanted to clarify that before I continued. So anyway, this side is us, and this here is our sin. So remember that time you were like 3, you were mean to your sister, had some sin in there, that time you were jealous of somebody, time you were gossiping about your friend, time you lied to your parents, cheated on a test, or even the sins you didn't even realize you did. So we look at that over the course of our lifetime. Some of you listening are 18 years old. So it gets to Judgment Day now. And here are the scales of righteousness. And we are found wanting. But God doesn't leave us there. We see in Romans 5:8, it tells us that God demonstrates his own love for us in this. Whilst we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So what does that mean for us on Judgment Day? It means that if we have accepted Jesus into our life, we aren't judged based on what we've done, but are judged based on the sacrifice that Jesus made for us when he died on the cross. And so when it gets to Judgment Day and our eternity is decided as Christ followers, we have Jesus on the other side of the scales, taking the punishment for us. It doesn't matter what you've done, how much you've sinned in your life, or how far you feel from God. Jesus wants to be standing on the other side of those scales because he loves you so deeply. All you have to do to have an eternity in heaven with God is accept and live for Jesus. If you don't know what that looks like, ask your leaders or send a message to the Crossfire Instagram, and someone will be able to talk to you about what that looks like. But what about when we don't have Jesus standing on the other side of the scales for us? We're judged based on our own merit and all the things we've done throughout our life. No amount of good works and the keeping of God's laws and commands can be sufficient to pay for our sin. All our thoughts, all our words, our actions will be judged against the perfect standards of God and will be found wanting. So when it gets to Judgment Day, how do you want to be weighed on the scales of righteousness? according to your own merit and your sin? Or with Jesus standing on the other side of those scales for you?
Hey guys, we're going to sing a song now, so why don't you join us as we sing? Here I am, down on my knees again, surrendering all, surrendering all. Find me here, Lord, as you draw me near. I'm desperate for you. I'm desperate for you. I surrender. Drench my soul, drench my soul. His mercy and grace unfold. Hunger and thirst, hunger and thirst. With arms stretched wide, I know you hear my cry. Speak to me now. Speak to me now. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you more. I want to know you more. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you more. I want to know you more. Like a rushing wind, Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a rushing wind, like a rushing wind. Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you more. I want to